Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first talk show at the first online festival, I would say. Maybe I'm wrong. And I have a pleasure to have in our virtual studio four persons who are inspiring me in different ways for years. Some of them as a teachers, some of them as partners, DJs, and so on. So let's start from Olga Metzner from London, who is milonguera, instructor, and a beautiful person, and of course Sara Grdan, who is our teacher and the person who is inspiring for years with the performances, not only at Belgrade Tango Encuentro, but worldwide. Sonja Živanović, representative of Belgrade, instructor, organizer, everything, and Konrad Krynski, nice, smart guy, and great DJ. So, how are you guys?
Excited.
Great, very good. Thank you for organizing this.
Thank you for accepting.
Thank you for organizing this.
As I said to some of you, it's not easy to find at the same time someone who is smart and has something to say and know how to say it and willing to go in front of whole community to say it. So congratulations, it's not easy. This is for
Darko, you're not putting pressure on us at all.
It's always.
For me, this is sixth time because we are already doing it as a part of Tango Natural TV, discussing important things for the community. And we realize, oh, this is something great that this crisis brought to us. All those things that we wanted to discuss and we never discussed, now we have opportunities. So we said, okay, that has to be part of Belgrade Tango Encuentro Online. So I would love to say hello to all our friends who are watching us, all tangueros and tangueras from all around the world. Please write us, where are you from? That's beautiful and also important for us tonight, because we will be discussing a situation in the whole community, and it's probably different from city to city, different answers, different options. So yes, write the cities and our people from the team will tell us what's going on Facebook. Feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions, feel free to to post your initiatives. Good. So did you have some time to enjoy some content of Belgrade Tango Encuentro Online? I want to ask you those few relaxed questions before we start with those harder one that are concerning this crisis.
I did manage to watch the live performances, which was quite a special thing because obviously it's not the way we are used to seeing performances and shows. So first of all, it's much more intimate because you get to see people in their own intimate personal environment. And second, it was so strange to see them finish dancing and there's no clapping. It's like, okay, that's a bit strange, but it's wonderful that you guys have put it together to be able to still enjoy this live performances. Thank you.
Thank you. Sara, did you follow this Saturday night performance?
You know, it was very interesting. It's very special experience because it's something between sort of being in your own house and almost like practicing, but at the same time you're not practicing because, you know, hundreds of people are watching you, and so you feel kind of loose because it's your protected personal safe space, where normally what we do is experiment and do crazy stuff, and maybe we do stuff that we would never show, and some kind of risk. So it was very strange feeling. I felt really excited, and then after we finished, I was crying, and it felt like a crazy release, because up until the moment of the performance I didn't quite emotionally understand in my heart really what this break from dancing and performing has meant to me. And in the moment of stopping was this like almost pain. So thank you so much. Lots of feelings came out last night.
That's kind of therapy, kind of therapy.
It was therapeutic for me. Mine was like, what's wrong with me? I don't know. It was just like bawling because I was laughing the whole time that I was dancing. It was really enjoyable, but during afterwards was just like a lot of heart pain.
And this is moving us out of the comfort zone for sure in a different ways. And Konrad said he was one of the great DJs who took part in Sonja's experiment. All those things are kind of experiments. So he was one of those smart DJs talking about tango music and other things, his DJing experiences. How it was, Konrad? You told me some things.
No, for me, well, I was able to join couple of parts of the program. Not everything, because I think all of our agendas are a little bit hectic those days. We are stuck in different places, so it's a little bit complicated. But I enjoyed the online version of the festival. I would obviously enjoy the normal version much more. But it's fantastic that you managed to organize this online version, and the experience of DJ chat with Sonja moderating it, and 3 other fantastic DJs. It was the first time I've experienced something like that, and it was great. It was a privilege to be part of it, and I learned a lot. I knew everybody for many years before, but still there.
Yeah, this we will go further through those all new things. One small technical thing, I think, Sara, you should mute yourself because Ivan's lesson is strong one, coming not only to us but the whole tango community that is watching us. So once you speak, you will be louder than him. And it took some time for me to realize simple solutions. So you see, there are always solutions. So please, people, write us where are you from today and yesterday and day before. We had people really from all around the world, and we want to hear. And I would love that Boris send me in our chat where are the people from, because it's easier for me communicating that way. Okay, so before we go to Corona time, actually current situation and the perspectives, something that is pretty connected and that we can connect is a question of festivals. So festivals exist as long as tango exists, but they were changing. They've been changing through the years, and somehow working for the community different jobs. Some people love festivals, some people don't like that much festivals. So we started with big festivals at the beginning of the European tango community that and the rare festivals, not that many of them, let's say Amsterdam, Istanbul, Rome, and so on. And then we passed through the years and we came to online edition of the festival. So I would love to ask Konrad, as a DJ, what is your experience about the festivals? How did you experience changing of the festivals?
I mean, for me, I think first as a dancer, it's important to mention, because I started dancing before starting to DJ. And for me, festivals, this is where the magic of tango first happened. So it's the glamour, it's the big event, it's the lights, it's great maestros performing. So this was absolutely magic for me. And then after a couple of years, DJing has started coming slowly, and I think for a DJ, all sorts of playing, all sorts of DJing are important, local milongas, marathons and festivals. But I would still say that festivals are the places where the most magic happens. You have the biggest crowds, you have performances. So this is very, very
Okay. I'm not sure that I didn't hear your last two words. Do we hear each other?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. It was just short interruption. This way of communication is really something that you are never sure what will happen. So, Olga, what is your feeling? You belong to one dynamic, specific tango community that is consisted, as I heard, because I've never been to London, more out of people who were not born in London. Let's say it's different from Belgrade, where Serbian people are 99% of people.
Yeah, I'm a Londoner now, and I've been living here for soon to be 9 years. But I started dancing not in London, and I arrived here as a tanguera. But the interesting thing about the London community is that I would say almost at least 50%, if not more, maybe 70% of dancers here in London are not actually British or not from London. So it's a very, very, very mixed community. So we are very well traveled in the sense that we are all very open to being all around Europe. So for us Londoners, in particular, the international tango scene is kind of like, it's an important bit. So sometimes some milongas completely empty out throughout the whole weekend if there's a few big events in Europe. So this kind of situation that we have with the coronavirus and everything cancelled is a big impact, not just because we are not able to have our own milongas, but because everyone is just losing so much of the things that we've been looking forward to.
Yeah, maybe you will you will be forced in one moment to dance only with each other.
It's true. It's true.
So I know Sonja's story about festivals pretty much, because we spent years and years together organizing and traveling. I would love to hear experience about festivals and international events and change of them through the eyes of someone who changed continents. So we have a different idea of the events in North America, where you spent first part of your career, Sara, and then Europe. So through the years and through the time and through the space, what is your experience?
Well, I have to say that in the US, when we were living there, there really weren't so many festivals. I mean, there are probably about 15 festivals a year in the US. I know that sounds completely crazy, but that's just how it is. People don't travel so much for tango unless it's like a marathon. So for marathons, people will travel. There are more marathons than festivals. Festivals are pretty rare. And I think it has to do with the costs of organizing and just how expensive it is to do anything and how risky it is. So many people just, don't do it. And when we first came to Europe, it was sort of a big change for us, because when we were living in New York, we were community builders there. We were for 8 years, building a community, and we had a big community of our own, and we decided to leave it to come and try this other way of working that wasn't teaching locally and grassroots organizing. So when we came here, we were in shock. We had never seen a festival really of the kind that, the festivals, how they were in Europe 8 years ago, just simply didn't really exist in the US. So I very much like that there are different types of festivals. That there are smaller festivals, there are medium-sized festivals, there are big ones, because each of them has its own flavor. It brings different kinds of people. But overall, it's meeting people in different places in the world through the year that I think is one of the best parts of a festival, besides, getting education, hearing great music. So I very much appreciate festivals, and I really, really hope they survive and thrive after this situation.
Now we appreciate everything even more, for sure. I think that matter of appreciation will rise through the months. And Sonja, finally, can you share with us your idea about festivals? Why did you start organizing Belgrade Tango Encuentro? I know the long story.
Are you sure that I should say this?
Little by little.
I should say why we started organizing festival.
No, you just say what do you feel? What do you feel about the festivals all together?
Well, okay. Now that you asked, really a few words. The first festival that we organized was the first festival experience for us ever. So we never traveled to any festival before we organized festival in Belgrade. And practically we did it. No, it sounds crazy, but it's like this.
Yeah, that's true.
We practically did it because we wanted to see some of our favorite dancers that we were following on YouTube. We wanted to see them live. And we wanted to bring these people to Belgrade, not only to be seen by us, but also to our friends in Belgrade, because we wanted all this that was going on here to expand. And then this is how we started practically. And then we started traveling slowly, and we started traveling first at festivals and then slowly at marathons as they were taking over by years. And what I've noticed is that in this one period, in, I don't know, maybe from 2013 or something, marathons started stepping in more and more, and they were becoming more and more popular. And then I remember a talk that I had with Murat, organizer of Tango Twist. Some years ago, when he said, he told me that it's not that we are not doing good thing because we are not inviting orchestra live. And then I explained that I mean it's a smaller event and economically it's not easy to everything to put together. And he said, yeah, I understand, but what you need to understand is that festivals are those who are preserving tango art. And I mean, I had this as idea, but I never put it in words in this way, like that really open. And then I talked with Darko about this, and actually, I think this is the first year when we invited solo tango. No, right, Darko? I'm not mistaken. Because we spoke about this thing, how festivals are important to preserve the art of tango. Because you go to marathons, and this really, it can be a beautiful experience, and I appreciate a lot that marathons exist. I also enjoy them as well. But to have live music, to have performances of teachers, to have this everything that Konrad said, this the elegant plays, the glory of tango, and all these things, this magic is something that festivals bring. And I also spoke then, I think it was also around a similar time with Singh, you all know him. And he said, we spoke about these festivals and marathons and how is it going. And he said that he has the feeling that festivals are stepping back again. They are becoming more interesting. Maybe it was this round that many dancers needed to kind of accomplish. You tried festivals, then you started marathons, and you travel and travel and travel, and you meet people more or less the same in a certain areas, let's say, and then you come again to this need to have all these things that festivals are bringing. And I think that they are very important, apart from the thing that I enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you. This is a really important topic, probably for another specific and special talk show, just importance and difference between events. But this what brings me, this all what you said brings me one idea is. What are the events that are the most community oriented? Because we experienced at the beginning only festivals, then marathons, and then many different kinds of events appeared. But what I could see, that no matter if something is festival or marathon or a tango camp or a tango weekend, this or that, some events are organized with the idea to be sustainable and to support the community, and some events are just okay for the pleasure, it's great, and for the meeting of people, but not that oriented to the local community. Shortly before we go to this situation, can you comment that, for instance, Olga, is there any feeling of responsibility among London dancers when they go to the events, like, should we preserve our milongas? How do we behave toward our community while we are traveling all the time? Or it's just, okay, I go for my pleasure, I don't think that much about that. What is a perspective? What is a...
It's a very good question. I think for many of us traveling dancers, this has been a question that we kind of ignored for a long, long time. And I'm not speaking just about myself, I'm speaking about my friends, and probably not just London community, but also anyone who is from the traveling tribe of tango dancers. It's been the case. But I think there's what Sonja also mentioned is very important, is that we have seen over the years a progression of the popularity or interest in certain types of events and the reasons for this interest. So when I started dancing, my first events were festivals, and then I discovered marathons. And when you discover marathons, you just go crazy. You just like, oh my God, this is like a,
kind of a drug. This is the best drug so
this
far.
Is the drug.
And I forget my family, I forget my job, my kids, everything.
Yeah, so and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Many people, once they discover the marathons, they literally work to be able to afford to travel. And that is the case. And of course, when you are living like that, you neglect what you have at home. And I think with the in the last couple of years, there has been an uprising again in the popularity of festivals, which is what I really, really like. And because I've been through this, drug addiction phase myself, and at some point I got bored with marathons, because in the end, what are you getting out of it? It's not enough just to dance and have pleasure. It's not enough. There's a limit to that. So after doing it for some time, I think most dancers start questioning themselves, what more is there to discover. And of course, the festivals offer one of the opportunities. You discover classes, you meet new people, you actually manage to mix with different crowds, because in marathons, you usually still meet the same exact people from one place to the other place to the next place. And festivals you have an opportunity to mix with a local community from that country, that city, and the community of very different levels of dancers, which is in itself a very inspirational thing. And I think once you realize that this is a great thing, and you can take classes, you can see shows, you get inspired, you then might say, oh, well, hold on, why do I have to go and support the community somewhere else if I have my own community? Why don't I just stay and also do something in my own city? So I think there's a progression for most of the dancers. Of course, not everyone, because there will be somebody who will, so from the beginning, say, I don't want to travel. I'm happy with my own hometown. I should support my own home milongas. But over the last few years, I've seen a really big interest in festivals. The what are called like the long weekends. So you've seen like we have a long weekend in London, you've seen long weekends in Paris, and a lot of other places where local milongas kind of get together and say, let's organize something together, which is a wonderful thing to support the community, and it attracts others as well from the other places.
I would notice now, and I see the comment that Angeli Wu, or how to pronounce it, she said, but I feel I save so much travel costs to meet many tango friends through Zoom. Of course, we are missing real contact, but this kind of experience, since we are doing it now like 2 months, is bringing something special. Those who try, and we have a situation that most of community didn't try this new way of tango experience, because we are forced to have it. But let's say, and we can now go to the current situation, that most of people said, okay, this is not tango and I don't care about anything but real contact. Before we continue, I just want to say hello, because I'm getting messages, Moscow and the Netherlands, Greece, Turkey, Egypt, Germany, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Italy, Slovenia, United Kingdom, Ukraine, Russia, Bosnia. And please write where you're from, write your specific communities, your cities, and write how is now there. Do you practice? Do you have some online programs? Because, for instance, we are meeting every morning for this Milonga boost that I do every morning at 10 a.m. And it's a really community feeling. This is not talking for our interest or for this or that. This is really feeling that people from all around the world are practicing together, like 200 people practicing together. We didn't have it before. Of course, that cannot replace embraces, but can we get something good out of this? Let's start that way, because the topic is really dark. So I think we can start with the light, and let that light be Konrad Krynski.
I lost you for a few seconds, but I hope I will answer to your question. And if I don't,
what good we can get out of this situation? Do you have some ideas?
No, I think you know, my small personal story. A couple of weeks ago, you know, I was sitting in an apartment in Paris where I live currently, and lockdown already for a couple of weeks, like really getting quite desperate. And a friend of mine from Budapest, Endre, he told me that he's organizing an online festival, some event, and he asked me to join it. And I joined one of the milongas, and it was an amazing experience, because it was a possibility to connect with people, to see faces. It was a little bit awkward, because you see people doing something on the screen, you don't hear them, you cannot really interact the same way as before. But it was like a whole new world. It was great. So for me, it was like a way of staying in the flow. And you know, we will see what time brings. But I think you know, it looks like for the time being, this is the only way we have to stay connected. And I think you know, we see how it develops. But I think it has a big role in, you know, keeping us together.
Yeah, and let's say that things that we learn now, probably we can save for the future once we embrace each other in real. All those things that we will develop now, we can save it. And from the point of view of one teacher, Sara, what is your experience? Can you reach people in a different way with your knowledge now? Of course, you are missing them in a physical way, but do you see some advantages?
I would like to kind of address the question you asked before, and then I'll skip into this one really fast. So the one that you asked to Konrad, I think is very interesting. And I see it sort of in a Darwinian way, actually, that there will be like a great pruning. And I think this is very positive in the sense that the people who will remain in the Tango community, who will really keep going through this, who are fighting through this, who are practicing alone through this, who are joining these events, and who really have the heart, their heart and soul is in Tango, they're the ones who will come out of this energized. They will come out of this with a lot of good ideas. They will come out of this ready to start dancing again. And I think they will be more enthusiastic. I think this may be smaller group, because I think some people will definitely fall off. But this smaller group of dancers will have this greater energy to keep moving Tango forward. And so hopefully, as a group of enthusiasts, we will get on board with organizing more, bringing new people in, just having more passion and more desire to dance. And I think that is a great thing about this. Yes, we might be less, but we'll be more potent, we'll be more powerful as a group. In terms of reaching people, you know, Ivan and I have actually been working with Skype a lot. We haven't really worked with Zoom, so now we're starting to use Zoom, and we like this tool much more because the interaction is kind of better, the picture is clearer. Our students, we have sort of a vocabulary with them, so actually it almost doesn't matter to us if we are physically present there with them or if we're interacting through a screen. With students that we don't teach so much, yes, we miss that physical sense because you need to feel the other person's body. So that feeling, transmitting that sensation of the body is really, really, really missing. So I think it's, while it is effective with, say, new students, is not as effective as with people that we already have a vocabulary in. So I really hope we get to embrace these students at some point.
I think I have one theory, and I will share it with you. But first, I have to apologize to Andre, because I said that this is maybe, but I didn't know. I just said maybe the first online festival, and now I actually remember that time. But it was really time of the beginning where you cannot see anything else. They really did it when everything was locked. Yes, that was an online festival, and Kristina Puskas, or how to pronounce it, she said online festivals create memories, and that's all it counts. And this is really special experience. Like well, I remember in the 90s we lost electricity from time to time or for hours, and you know, you have a candle and you are sitting together, and you know, it's a kind of bad situation, but actually you remember those moments because it's special. You are trying to find new ways to function. And I would share with you idea. I think that a community can grow out of this, because what we see that people from the small communities who didn't have opportunity to meet teachers at all now are learning so much because of so many online lessons. That's one thing. Another thing is doing all those energizing sessions through milonga, this, that. We realized that many people want to dance at home because they didn't have time to go to the lessons in the big cities. And now we are doing online enrollment. So I'm not showing off, I'm sharing ideas. So everyone who is watching this can share it with their community. Sonja, I think that situations is uncertain, and this question for everyone, but I would love to hear your opinion, because we don't live at the same place and we didn't discuss it. What do you think? What will happen when we will start, for instance, dancing at marathons? Is there anyone here who has any idea about what will happen? That's uncertainty of a highest level.
Why did you ask me the hardest question?
Okay, you choose any question. You know, like politicians, you know, I ask you one thing, you answer what you like to answer. That's
No,
at least we are used to it here in Serbia. So
I have impression. I talked with friend from Amsterdam, with Marta Sagovska, yesterday, and I told her that I have impression that things will go back to normal much sooner than we can imagine, because she was doubting this. She was questioning, like, when is this gonna end? Because at least what the situation is here, like in 3 days, so many things changed. They reopened gyms, public transportation, cafe with some social distancing, no, physical distancing, but there's no real distance. I mean, people are sitting at tables, everything. If you go on the street, apart from some people wearing masks, there is nothing unusual that you can see. Everything is normal. Even a big Chinese panda that on the corner is open up, you know. So there's practically everything. And I have impression that things will come back sooner to normal than we think. I read a post in one group today from a woman from Germany, one teacher. She said that there it's been allowed to give group lessons, but the restriction is that only couples who live together can dance together. People are not allowed to change couples. But I still have impression that these things are actually changing over the night. and that everything will come back to normal much sooner than we can imagine. I really feel that.
Okay, that's very optimistic. Sara told me that Gustavo Naveira had an interview, pretty pessimistic interview about all things. So maybe it's just depends on our inner feelings, like, or maybe you are just younger and
maybe it's also wishful thinking. Maybe that also. But
we have here nice perspective just to share with everyone. Georgi Boykov, he said this is excellent idea, this online festival, as well as because this is an opportunity to share with non-tango friends what we are actually doing and how do great festivals really look like, and not just to say great things about Encuentro. Thank you, Georgi. But this is also time that we are sharing, we are missing tango. And tango people who are actually traveling a lot and doing other things now are all the time sharing some songs, so sharing tango culture, some lessons, lives from home, practicing, those who are active. And those who are not active are waiting for this thing to change. Do you have some idea when this will change? Sonja said her opinion, and I think it's good and important to hear from everyone. What do you expect?
Can I go?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I think for the last few months, all of us became experts in epidemiology, in public health, and so on. I'm one of them, obviously. No, but jokes apart, it's like one of the famous or popular saying nowadays is that, you know, the world will change. You know, the things will not be the same afterwards. Honestly, I don't think the world will change that much in tango. I personally believe things will get back pretty much to the same way as they were. It's just a question how much time it will take, and what will be the gradual steps that will take us there. Because for sure it will not happen from one day to another. I believe local communities might be the ones that will be gaining the most, because things will start most likely slowly in local communities. This idea of classes between partners living together, I think this is something that is making much sense. So probably things will start slowly at local level. I think with events, it will take a little bit more time for two reasons. Obviously, the health situation, it's something that we cannot estimate how long it will take, but it will take a little bit more time. And then for sure there is economic aspect of the situation that we are going through. So most likely so maybe festivals and marathons a little bit slower, but things will come back to normal.
Thank you. And this is this point about possibility for local communities to develop and to get to know each other better, especially those Western people who have more money and the better connections with the rest of the world. That's why you see, for instance, Belgrade, we don't have money, we don't have good flying connections, and that's why we are developing local community very fast. So something that is actually disadvantage, we already experience as a great advantage, because we have always big milongas, because we cannot have that big groups like London. Sometimes Belgrade, Poret, all big events, you meet like 100 people from London and so on. And okay, let's keep Sara for the end of this analysis. Olga, what are your predictions?
Can I just say one short thing? Since we cannot travel that much, we are forced to make events where the others will come, because for us, this is opportunity to meet the world. It's another disadvantage turned into advantage.
Poor people. So, Olga, how do you embrace this situation? Dennis said we should embrace everything what life brings to us. Do you embrace this, and or do you have some predictions?
It's a very interesting question. I think every single one of us experiences differently, but at the same time, probably in some similar way. So the first few weeks, probably many people were completely lost. I know from also my students, most people completely disappeared. So like you even write to them and they just don't even answer. So I think a lot of people are really lost and probably not really sure how to come back, when to come back. They're just saying it gives me too much pain to even listen. I've experienced this myself. I could not get back into training, or I still have trouble listening to tango music because it just brings me a point of pain. But on the other hand, I think by the end of this, I don't know what the prediction would be. I think first, obviously, the local communities will have a chance to open up and maybe bit by bit start getting closer together. And obviously for communities that like ours, or communities where people travel a lot, this is going to be a chance to reconnect with each other rather than, spending our energy somewhere else. We can maybe get to know each other. And I think the positive thing that I see coming out of all of this is that by the end of all this, we will be so starved of human contact, of human emotion, of interaction. We will just jump at each other at the first opportunity.
There are many memes around the internet about that.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a huge opportunity for many people who felt neglected, who felt like they could not fit into the community, to actually be seen finally, because there will be people who are going to be ready to give all their love to everyone. And then obviously with the time there will be more and more traveling, but I predict traveling a lot later, maybe next year, but maybe the opening of the local communities will start happening sometime this year still. And I think I agree with Sara that this will be a purge moment for people who are just doing tango as like one of the things, so they don't really feel the real deep passion and the desire to dance and to connect. So those who are really in love with the dance, with tango, they will stay. They will keep on doing the classes, the exercises, the training, whatever. And maybe
sorry for interrupting, maybe we should start, because Dennis asked, what do you think when first milonga will happen? And then I realized, okay, we should start betting on the predictions, and that will keep people connected within the community. Okay, let's give some money there. Let's put some money. What do you think when it will happen in London? First milonga, who will give more? 10 pounds.
Oof, I don't know. I think by the end of summer, beginning of autumn, we will have probably the first opportunity to get together, and it might start with
not before.
I doubt it. Maybe something like home gatherings where you can just invite your home. Like, I mean, in my home, I do invite some friends sometimes. Once it's allowed, maybe I will just say, okay, whoever feels safe enough, come over and let's just like have a bit of dancing. So we will see how it goes. But my prediction is the community scale opening will probably start happening sometime in fall.
Thank you. And this wasn't good strategy because Sara was under the influence of Gustavo Naveira's interview. So having Sara at the end won't be that positive for all of you. So before we go to Sara, please write us where are you from, and please write us what is the situation in your communities. Do you meet sometimes at your home dancing? Like Olga said that it will be the case in London, probably, hopefully.
Milonga ilegal.
Yeah, milonga ilegal. It's interesting because, as Sonja said, a market is functioning because market has to function because of economic reasons. But we are a really small group within a whole society and a risky group. So I'm not sure that things will go that fast all the time. So it can be going like this, functioning without embraces, economy functioning without embraces, but tango, we will see. This I'm not sure. I don't have my prediction.
There are also like football games and sport games and concerts, and there's this whole branch of economy that relies on people gathering. So
Yeah, you are right, but
I mean,
let's
I
see.
don't know, of course.
Let's see. Olesia said that in Ukraine, Tango school started online lessons and doing technique and online milongas. So congratulations, Ukraine, and just go and experience, do new experiments and create things and invite us. We will love to join it. So Sara, your predictions.
Oh no, I feel bad that you're leaving me for the end. I agree with Olga in the sense that I think that the first local milongas of 50 people or 100 people, up to 100 people, will start sometime end of August, beginning of September. I think for international travel, it will be much longer because we have to first have open borders. Then we have to have a fear of traveling go down. Then we have to have allowing of 200 plus people to get together in one place. That I think will take quite much longer. I also think that there's different communities will have different effects. Communities where there's a big number of older dancers, I think will suffer much more than young communities in the Balkans and East Europe. So in the West, in Italy, in France, and Germany, the community is generally skews older, 60s and so on. I don't know how many people in that age group will feel that it's a risk, how many of them are risk averse. So that's going to be a question. But this is, I think, an opportunity. And it's an opportunity in the sense that the younger communities really will have their work cut out for them. It's going to be a different tango world, I think, after this, in the sense that maybe the milongas will be younger than in age averages than we have seen in the past. But that is also a problem because the people that that put money into the tango community, that keep the wheel rolling, are the people who are older, who are in West Europe. So I don't know. It will be interesting.
That's okay. So bringing everything together, we would get one very good analysis. You see, it depends also from perspective to perspective, and yes, communities are different, and that was a good point about difference between communities. You told me that yesterday, and I didn't think about that because we were so focused on our situation, but really communities that have much more older people have more weak points, let's say, and that analyzes about also money that will come to the community that's important for things to function, to pay the rent, to pay the studios, to pay the milongas and plates and everything. So I think, Konrad, you have the most neutral position to analyze, because all of us work something in tango, and you are DJ who is doing that for passion and not as his first profession. Who are the categories that suffered a lot, that will maybe suffer the most within the tango community? What are the weakest points of the tango community facing this corona crisis? What do you think? Who will have, let's say, the most challenging situation, to set it that way?
Well, I think obviously the most challenging situation is for tango professionals, because this is like, if you imagine, talking to somebody 6 months ago, and you try to, you ask the person, describe what is the worst thing that could ever happen for tango and for tango professionals. This is actually pretty much what is happening. If we exclude, the end of the world, this is pretty much it. So this is a complete dramatic situation. And I have lots of friends working out of tango, being teachers, being organizers, and I think many have very, very, very hard time. I think there will be changes. I think many of, let's say, half professional teachers, so people that have some non-tango jobs but they teach part-time, I think many of them will move their weight of professional life away from tango. So I think this is something that will happen. But at the same time, what I said earlier, I think things will come back to normal because usually with tango you don't have, it's not a factory that you, once you close, you cannot open it again. If you are a teacher, if you have skills with you, you have 2 legs, and you are excited about tango, you can come back to it in a couple of months. So I think it will be very turbulent. It is extremely difficult now, but I believe later in this year, or from the beginning of next year, the situation will be coming completely to normal, and by hopefully by summer next year we will be we'll be embracing in events and festivals. And Sonja has something very smart to say, I'm sure.
Sonja, let the Konrad finish his.
I
remember all our dinners were that way. You've been interrupted. I'm kidding. Just I want to say to you that Christina, our dear friend, probably all of us know her, and let's say the most famous traveler from the North America. She's ready to come to Europe if we just say the word. So we have a good will. Let's see what will happen. And kisses for Christina and for everyone. Please write us again, because this is not only for us as organizers to see where you're from, but that feeling of being together and seeing people from different communities means us a lot. And I think you will have also good feeling reading all the names of the communities. So we are getting to one important question, but I will give you a word, Sonja. I know that you want to say.
Thank you. I would survive, but thank you. I wanted to say just shortly about this, and I know that you would like to hear this. What are good things that we can take out of this? I think from a perspective of teacher, something that can be good now, and I really see it as a good thing and a big potential, is understanding what are all those elements of tango that can be part of our teaching. Because when a person thinks of a tango teacher, the first idea is a person who teach you how to move when you dance in couples, some steps, some technique, and so on. And tango is a couple dance. But to be a part of tango community, one doesn't do only for dance. We belong to a community. This tango community means that we also take many things of a tango culture. There is music. There is a dance on a technical level, like technical aspect of dance. There is also an embrace. There is this couple thing. There is individual thing. If we talk about individual thing, we can talk about technique, like lots of technique exercises, body awareness, many techniques, many approaches. And I think that this situation now simply forced us, if we want to keep on, if we want to adapt to this, forced us to see all these things and to understand what are all points of connection for a person who stays in tango. And then you approach your students through all these points of connection with tango. For me personally, this was really, really priceless.
Yeah, that has shown us weaknesses of the community, because as Olga and Sara said, some people just disappeared in a moment. And I believe that not only if you are a teacher, but if you are just someone who believes in tango and the community, just ordinary dancer, will say, okay, I feel a little bit maybe betrayed, because I thought we are all together here, we will preserve something. But of course, in a time of crisis, you don't know what happened to that person. Maybe someone has lost his job, maybe someone, because it was panic all around. And it's also interesting if some people will now slow down a little bit and realize, okay, there is my teacher, there is my community, there is something online. What's going on in the heads of people, we don't know. But I think that the question of common responsibility is something that we should discuss. What do you think about that? Maybe I would again start from Konrad, because somehow he he has very analytic mind, and also he doesn't have a let's say all of us have kind of personal interests. So for instance, Olga, let's say less also, she's doing many things, but Sara is professional. We are in a way professionals doing only tango. So I'll share with you some my ideas, but I would love to hear someone who is let's say neutral here in this situation.
No, so for sure, I'm out of all of you, I'm, let's say, the least involved on daily basis. So let's say I'm a regular guest to Tango, but I'm more a guest or than like a regular person. I think from personal perspective, all of us, we learn a lot in difficult situations. So when we have you know, personal crisis, or this is more like a global crisis, we all learn, and hopefully we will take those learnings with us through our lives, and it will not just last a little bit. So for sure there will be this reaction, you know, of thinking about communities, of thinking about people around us. I want to be optimistic, but I think you know, big part of it will disappear as time goes by, because you know, we have a great memory, but many of us have short memory at the same time. So I think you know, the situation will get back to normal, but I think it can be something beautiful at the very beginning. And you know, you, Darko, you mentioned some memes about people going back to milongas and back to tango life. I think there will be beautiful energy there. I hope it will be not too much.
But just to be more precise with my question, when I said responsibility, I meant if there is some studio in Berlin, for instance, or in there is okay, Kathleen from Philadelphia is writing something. So in Philadelphia, I don't know how much it can cost, and you have someone who is, as you mentioned before, someone who is working tango and something else. So that person will say, why would I pay rent to this studio? Why would I invest in tango? I go programming or doing my job. And do we have responsibility all together? And is it different from the, do you know, this question for everyone, what happened in the different communities when it comes to the support to the local teachers, local schools? Do we share responsibility there, or how it functions? What is your opinion, Konrad? And then we go to Sara.
I think it's probably difficult to answer what will happen, because we are, you know, honestly, until we go out to see what is out there, it will be difficult to say what has happened. And then I think it depends. Probably, you know, even in the period before the crisis, the approach of people was different. People that have, you know, very strong feeling of responsibility for the communities, for tango, for preserving culture, for bringing orchestras to events, which is not always making sense from, you know, a financial perspective, but it makes sense from tango perspective. And then there are people that, you know, are approaching it a little bit more egoistic way. They just want to have great time, and they want to go to, you know, best level tango marathon and have fun. And, you know, there is nothing wrong about it. So, but I think we will have to wait a little bit and go out to see what is out there, because we will, you know, we will discover a slightly different world.
It's probably interesting because before we had more of like organizers, teachers, and so on, who were more interested in community or money. And now maybe it depends from the situation to situation how much they will be supported, because someone who was just giving tango for money and not building community maybe will get less of support. But in some states it's different. Some states are supporting free artists, and in Serbia, for instance, we don't have it. It's different. Sara.
Okay, so I think these are sort of different, all kinds of different questions. The first thing has to do with people who, let's say, have other jobs and also do tango. a lot of the time, in my perspective, I think that maybe those people might have a better chance of surviving, actually, because they have a source of income which is independent of tango. So they can actually afford to give free classes. They can afford to do things that a professional in tango can't do. I can't afford to give a free class, not because I don't want to, but because I need to eat. So there has to be a balance in my life between building a community and doing things that are good for the community in terms of incentivizing people to come and take classes, and also making sure that there is food on my table. And that has to do with quality. So my quality in everything that I do, it has to be absolutely the best that I can do.
And if you give it now for free, how you can sell it 2 months later? If you give now 20 lessons for free,
I don't know. Those are all questions. Maybe yes, maybe that will bring new people in who may not have known us before. I don't know. It's difficult. I don't know the answer to this. That's one thing. Another thing is, costs of organizing. I mean, in the U.S., there are some friends of mine who run a studio. Their expenses are $100,000 a month, and they're asking this through a Kickstarter because they just simply can't pay. So what will happen when a lot of these studios go under? And studios, whether you like it or not, they are the primary places where people get attracted to start dancing tango. Without having a studio, a fixed place where you go to dance, let's say in that studio you have salsa, they have something else, and then they're dancing salsa, and next door they see Argentine tango. They're like, wow, what is that? That looks so cool. That's what brings them in. Besides this community outreach, like how you guys do, which is incredible, and you should write a book because everyone should, understand how that's done. That's something else. The last thing, sorry, what was the last thing you asked? Those were the two things.
Yeah, there are many things that are connected, but it was also last thing that I said. It's that do we have now different experiences if someone was a teacher? I heard many stories, for instance, about some people from Paris were talking to me. We don't have that many young people. I heard that story before. Now we have Tango Young in Paris and different things, but they said because no one wants to give tango to young people for small money, and they are just working just only for money, not community. I don't know. Those are the stories that I heard. Maybe now those people will say, okay, I don't care. You were giving me just for money. You were not building community.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is it's connected to what you're saying. This is the last thing that I wanted to say, and it has to do with what is good about the situation now is that in my experience previously teaching, I find that most average tango dancers actually don't have enough information about tango. And what do I mean? They don't have enough information. For example, they don't know important dancers from the past. If you say a name like Guillermina Quiroga or Milena Plebs, many people who dance today have no idea who those women are, and they're very, very important in the development of tango in the world. People don't tend to know about orchestras. They're not interested. Sometimes they don't maybe not care for live music. And I think with this, I think a lot of people, what they get from tango initially, the first thing is that the goodness, the contact, the embrace, and the drug of the embrace. And sometimes that's what people stay in. And now that we don't have that visceral connection of body to body, all of a sudden this is cut. And so now we need to meet tango in a different way. We have to meet other aspects of it. So being able to have these kinds of conversations, and maybe, other types of conversations, is really, really, really interesting. And it should be educated about music. We should be educated about dance. We should be educated about developments of tango through time.
We see those things, and we are doing, for instance, now with the Tango Natural TV and Tango Natural page, just to promote it a little bit, because we would love to see more people coming, and we already have people from all around the world. For instance, Tuesday, Sonja is doing great sessions about orchestras, and Relja is analyzing performances together with Petar Pavlov, who is really giving this great touch of his perfection and excellence there, and many other things, together with these conversations that we actually have. And what I wanted to ask you, Olga, and also Sonja after you, how much is important to talk about those things? I apologize already to Andre that this is not the first online festival, but maybe this is first time that international people meet, and after 2 months we meet 5 of us and we talk about something that is very important for all of us. Should we meet more often? Should we organize something to have a common answer? And do you experience something like that at the level of London community? And what do you think about further steps?
I think in general, like to address the support and the necessity to support the community, not just in London, but in general, the world Tango community. I think it's important, and I see a lot of efforts being done also here locally. But sometimes I have a feeling that it's not enough. So something like this, more international, where we are able to see other people, hear other people. So we're not just donating to a milonga our 10 euros, 10 pounds, whatever. We are able to see other people and hear what they say, so we feel less lonely, so we feel more connected. I think that is very important, because all in all, tango is about connection. And unless we're able to sustain this connection, many people will lose the fascination. So if we are able to exchange, even now I'm sitting here in my home by myself, and I'm able to get inspiration from everyone in this chat. So I feel like, oh yeah, maybe this is a good idea, maybe that is a good idea. So more of these conversations, I think, will keep the fire alive. And I think that's the main thing that we need to really watch out for. We don't know how long this situation will last. So it will surely affect tango in a long run. Maybe Konrad, you're right, that eventually it will go back to normal, or more or less normal. But how long will that take? It might take a few years. So in order to not see tango kind of disappear bit by bit, we need to keep the fire alive. And we need to, same as that, not just the communication between us, we also need to keep ourselves alive in the meanwhile. I mean, I don't mean like physically alive, but we need to be sure that we are still having some kind of a feeling about tango as dancers, as professionals, that we're seeing this fascination and it doesn't go away. And I think a lot of it is also to do with, as Sara said, understanding more about the roots, understanding that tango has been through many waves of ups and downs, right? So it's just another wave. It's a difficult time, but we will get through this. And I think what we should definitely do, not as just only as professionals, but also as dancers, as social dancers, as students, we need to take a little bit more responsibility for ourselves and our friends and our peers, and say, how do we keep it alive? And maybe it means also investing a little bit more into, I don't know, analyzing music a little bit more. Or what is really important for me, that's what I'm doing more and more. Instead of just giving classes of tango, I decided I'm going to do more of body work, because in the end, we are dancing with our bodies. If we lose touch with our bodies, because over the years, we build up the connection between our body, the music, and the body of our partner. And if we just lose this connection, this sensitivity within our own bodies, what will happen when we embrace someone else? So maybe this is a chance for us to look a little bit more inside ourselves, find a way to connect to our emotions. What do we actually feel when we think about tango? What is important for us? How do we keep the abilities alive when we have a chance to come back to it? And maybe that's doing something with our listening, with our emotions, with our knowledge, understanding of the roots and the history. And obviously it's the body work. It's just this sensitivity that doesn't go away. You know, like we learn in classes, we learn to touch like this and touch like this. And we can also do the same thing within our own bodies. So we can build up this sensitivity and the ability.
That's the thing that I would, sorry for interrupting, but that's the thing that I would love to talk a little bit more now after Sonja takes her turn and say something on this topic. Before that, just to say hello to Miami, Philadelphia, Hamburg, Cluj, Sheffield, Moldova, and please write us where you're from. I see around 200 people at the moment watching us, just to put a little bit of pressure on you. Yeah, you see, we forget about girls are drinking some alcohol, only Konrad and me, just to share with you some. We don't know what is it.
Tea.
Konrad and me, we don't have makeup, we don't have alcohol, we don't, you know, and you are in better situation. One interesting thing, Joachim Ruth, he said first dance schools are opening on Monday in federal state of Northern Westphalia. 1.5 meters of distance, no change of partners allowed, masks required, no wardrobe or bar open. So yeah, we will probably find new ways. But I think it's not only finding, we'll go to some also instructors' comments, interesting, but let's say that to finish this circle with Sonja.
Well, I would say that in my imaginary and perfect scenario, all teachers would now be doing whatever they can, depending on their possibilities, and all people would be paying as much as they can, if they can at all, and this money will provide sustainability for and the life for these teachers, and also these contents to remain free for those who cannot pay. This is my imaginary world. For me, this is community. For me, this is community. And when all this started, a friend from Berlin made a post. He said he's not a teacher, he's just a dancer, so he doesn't live out of Tango. And he wrote something like, we have to be aware that in these times, we are those who need to preserve places where we are going to go back when all this is finished. But this responsibility that we cannot influence if another person is aware of that or not, I think is something that actually everything relies on now, because this is the, and it also gives us understanding of how many people understand this, and the importance of this. And like, for example, all the people that are taking contents for free and they cannot pay, they should feel completely fine with it. It's not that anyone should feel that it's not good enough if it is not paying. But I mean, no one should feel that it's not good, of course. But I mean, I think it should be like this. Maybe it's a bit of communist idea, you know, in a way. But this is how I like to think. Everyone give whatever they can give, and it should be like this on a plate for everyone to take.
Yeah, this is. I think this brings finally. I write a lot about building community. I do that for some other institutions, and that's a thing that we are just taking for granted because we are talking about Tango community everywhere. But I would say that actually we have Tango scene as one phenomenon and Tango community as another phenomenon, and between those 2 points we have real shapes of something that is between scene and community, from city to city. So we love to call it Tango community, but actually it's not always Tango community. Tango scene is a place where people with their personal interests are meeting and how to say, enjoying, fulfilling those interests. And the community is a long-term thinking about common values and common interests, and values are the most important word. So it's interesting now that we will maybe see how much we understand Tango culture, how much we have connected people to the Tango culture, to the music, to orchestras, to the dance, and also how much we have actually communities. And just to say that here, Kristina Puskas. Sorry for the names. My pronunciation of English is not that good, and when I see other names, then it's even worse. But it's interesting that those, she said, beginners and those that we enrolled in January, February, or before won't be coming back. And those are not people who are that connected with tango, and that core people who are dancing and traveling and that they have tango running through their veins, as she said, will be guarantee of preserving community. And that's a good point. That's a good point. Sonja, sorry, you wanted
just shortly, because it reminded me, like these days when I'm passing through the hall of my building that has only 6 floors and 1 apartment on each floor, I'm seeing that the hall itself is in a mess. Everything is dirty with windows are dirty, nothing functions. And in my place, everything is fine. And I'm pretty sure that all the other people, since we are spending lots of time at our homes, that their homes are fine. But no one was taking care of the hall. If we want the whole to preserve the whole building, we have to take care of the floor, of the hall. So if we think about tango community, it's not only this one small thing that I consume, it's everything under the roof. And
and we are learning that.
Yeah, I also think that we are learning. For
instance, I'm 38 and I belong to, in a way, second generation of second wave of tangueros in Europe. This community is very young, actually. If we take beginning of community, not early 20th century or the end of 19th, if we take only those 20-30 years, something like that, 35, I don't know, this is very young community, so things are happening, and this is a challenge for us, and that challenge brings a lot of small and big questions, and one is again nice person, but again sorry for the pronunciation of the name, Anti Okerekebi. I would how I would read it, I don't know, please help me, but question is good. Do you think we will come back from this tango drought less stuck in our ways and more willing to open up to new dance partners, to take a few more risks? So how this will, Olga, you said something interesting yesterday when we were talking about this. This is actually about trusting to each other, and this is about, tango is about opening. So
yeah, tango is really about, it's about trust. It's about saying, here I am with everything I have in front of you, I'm gonna hug you and let's dance together. So obviously this medical crisis that we have right now, when we are being constantly told by everyone around, the scientists, the governments, don't come close to each other, don't come hug, don't come kiss, don't touch each other, don't see your friends and don't see your family. I think that will in some way affect the mental state that we have, because instead of coming open with an open heart and ready to hug someone, we will be very cautious about, oh, can I actually hug this person? But I think it will be initial stages until maybe the vaccine comes, or there will be a moment when we will be able to go back to normal. And as I mentioned before, I really do believe that we will be so starved of the embrace of connection that we will jump at the first opportunity. And that openness and that readiness to just embrace anyone right now is gonna probably open up a lot of doors for those who felt neglected or those who never really had a chance. I think there will be a potential for that.
What if the answer should be really crazy? For instance, what if the answer is okay? As you said, this is my perspective. I realized I wake up every morning doing live sessions, milonga, non-tango music, and people are joining, and more people are joining. And what I see, mostly women. Okay, 20% of guys, or maybe they are more shy, not that much commenting. And then I realized, okay, girls are those who need to dance, who dance at home at all, who enjoy their body. And then I said, okay, is the dance just exclusion for guys to embrace the woman, or embracing woman they get excuse to dance? That's the last light. I said, because it's possible both. Because the guys would love to dance, but how to dance alone? I think it's a hard thing for one guy. So let me embrace. Always there was a story that we are embracing, that we are going to dance because of women, but maybe it's opposite. So I said to them, okay, what Olga said. If we don't enjoy our body dancing, if we don't enjoy music alone at home, how do we expect that someone will enjoy our embrace and our dance? What do we bring to the dance? And Corina said yesterday also, enjoy your dance, enjoy the music, you can enjoy tango. And then I started developing dancing tango elements. Tango can be the dance that no one can recognize that it's not freestyle individual dance. You have dissociation, a little bit more, rebounds, turns, embellishments, this and that. You can dance it, no one will realize it. And people who are not tangueros, they love it, they dance it. Should we change the mission? Should we use this time to offer something crazy? Does it sound too crazy for you? For the end of the talk show.
Maybe Sara should say something, because as the maestra...
This is crazy, I would say, for sure.
We all stayed silent.
But I experience that every morning. I posted, we had a picture on our page with the biggest number of likes ever. And that's a picture of me, a lady and her daughter who stopped me in the park. And then 3 more situations happened in last 1 week. People are recognizing me for the first time. People, non-tangueros, who are practicing with me in the morning tango elements for milonga, rebounds, embellishments, dissociating, they love it. You know, I want to share this with the community. I want to start it and try it. And you will see that some people love dancing milonga, not maybe, okay, I do step dissociation and really strict salon technique, but some elements can be much more danced. Okay, who will say this, or will just pretend that I didn't say anything?
I don't mind. I don't mind saying something. I think you've touched on a question which is an age-old question in tango. First of all, what makes tango tango, right? This question has been, if you dance tango to non-tango music, are you still dancing tango? If you dance to non-tango music, to tango music, but you don't use tango steps, is it still tango? Is it still tango if you don't follow the traditional cabeceo and mirada? These are very philosophical questions, and we can talk about them forever and ever. And this is coming from a person who loves dancing tango to non-tango music. So in my personal opinion, this is just my opinion, tango is about
Who will support me? Just to say, you see Sonja's face. She is a traditional stream within Tango Natural. We are like this all the time. We are not monolith. We are like this all the time. So she is traditional. You see her like this, and I'm getting support. Okay.
So tango is, for me personally, what's really kind of what tango is about communication and connection, and this is made through attention, but it requires communication. So for me, without being able to communicate our dance, meaning without having a technical basis for the dance, meaning a technical basis for partner dance, so communication for partner dance, we don't have tango. So I don't know if individual movement, I would define as tango dancing. because that communication part, connection part, is not there.
But can we communicate later better if we dance alone better?
We can. I think that it's very important, like Olga was saying, this awareness of the body and body movement is very important, because if we don't know our bodies, we can't communicate with our body. So our communication is limited by our awareness capacity and our functioning capacity. The more we enhance our own bodies, of course, better we can dance with a partner. But that's a separate work from the communication work. They go hand in hand, but they're two roads that are parallel to each other, but they're different roads. So I really love that you're doing this. I think it's great that people who don't dance tango are recognizing you in the street because they're following your super awesome milonga morning workouts. Now I'm going to have to check it out. I'll join you.
It's not that morning. It's 10 a.m. Not okay.
It's morning.
That's morning.
Let's vote. Let's vote here. Let's here establish what is tango morning. Because there are many people. There are many people that are supporting us with the idea that this. I think this online conversation is actually a great thing, even when things go back to normal. Every other industry has a symposium, so why not tango? This is a great thing. Why not? So if we keep this meeting together, if we keep dancing at home together, if we keep new ways of teaching, this is really opportunity to enrich tango world and then to get back to normal, as Konrad said. Konrad, what do you think? Would you join me? Would you join me? I imagine you in the morning, half naked, dancing 3 milongas and brushing your teeth.
Darko, how do you know that I'm not doing it? No, I think we are living in extraordinary times, and I think every action that will bring us to the goal is completely allowed, and then we can talk whether this is tango, this is classical, whether the milongueros in Buenos Aires would approve of it or not. I think those are, all the discussions, and we can have them, ever and ever. But I think one of the very simple and straightforward objectives is for us to be ready to be back when we can be back to a normal life. And I think one of the objectives is to keep as many people interested, and those people that are hooked, they will be there, and probably they will not be gone. But people that have started relatively recently, or they are thinking to start, I think any action that will keep them interested, and it can be fun, it can be non-tango music. Many years ago we had those discussions. Should we play alternative music in milongas? Like, why not? If this is and this was the way to bring people to tango. You play whatever they enjoy, then you convert them, and they become very radical.
You convert them to your church.
No, Sonja agrees with that. But I think this can open tango community, because we get closed. The best dancers going to marathons, many of teachers are too conservative, no alternative music, no non-tango music, not dancing out of, we are so close, we are like underground. So this is opening us more to the non-tango world more than anything else. So I still see opportunities, and this is great what you said, that everything is allowed now, and it's interesting that maybe more liberal and open communities will have more chances. Just to say hello to Berlin, Oslo, Poland, Mragovo. Konrad, help us, where is Mragovo? Antalya, that's the, and yeah. Sofia. Okay, so you are really smart people. It was a great pleasure talking with you, but we have little by little to finish. I would really I could really stay longer, and I feel that we have so many things to talk. But I would give you a final word on this, and it can start from Olga. I see you like this: Olga, Sara, Konrad, Sonja. So we can go that way.
I think it's generally a great idea that you started this discussion and open it up for everyone to watch. Hopefully, as we talked yesterday with you, you mentioned that you might even do more of this. I think it's a brilliant idea, and hopefully now is the beginning. We have about 200 people watching. I'm following it as well. I think this will keep up the spirit of the community. I think it's very, very important that we actually see other people and hear what they say, because otherwise we're just all sitting in our little bubbles and we're not really sure whether our feeling of isolation is just us and everyone else is just enjoying their own practices and taking classes online with all the maestros available in the world, or if it's everyone is kind of lost. So this idea of connecting us and saying we are kind of in a similar situation, more or less, I think it's brilliant, and that will hopefully help a lot of people to keep up their passion. And in the meanwhile, I think, as Konrad said, everything goes. The crisis times require, like extraordinary times require extraordinary solutions. So this is an extraordinary time, and in the end, whatever works, works. And just a little, like as you were talking about the alternative music, I was just thinking, I remember being in one of the milongas in Berlin, where they have, like, it's a really dark, small room, and there, a lot of local teachers come to dance there. It's they also have a big room next door where they play only alternative music, and all the youngsters, all the beginners go there. And we had the same thing in London as well, at Nigracha. And
it was Milonga Popular, yes, in Berlin.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. And it's, I think, in the end, if you think about it, it's a brilliant idea, because when you get beginners, people who've never heard, why would anyone dance to the music of Dead Argentinians? Why would anyone, say this is the great music, great way to start doing my, Wednesday evenings? So if you kind of popularize it a little bit more, yes, with maybe slightly alternative means, get people to enjoy the communication, the connection, maybe the movement, and then eventually you get them together and say, oh, this is actually what you can also do, and it's much more sophisticated. Maybe that's going to work. So if we just think of this approach also in these days, it might keep the community alive.
Thank you, Olga. And we are I had now a little bit to communicate. I was listening to you really carefully, but Petar Pavlov is sending greetings to you at the moment, so that's why I had to see it. So we go. Lorena said, please continue. This is oxygen. Even after all this madness ends, please continue. So I believe that many people would love that we continue, but let's save this for a new sessions. For sure we will make it. Sara, your final word. It was pleasure to have you with us, Olga, and we will stay later together on Zoom at least 2 minutes to say goodbye to each other.
My last word, I guess, just is a little bit of a reflection on what this going online and going virtual means for tango. And you made a distinction, Darko, between a tango scene and a tango community. And oftentimes communities are local and the scene is international. And this virtual world is changing that a little bit. The fact that we can communicate across borders, the fact that a student can take a class living in Finland with a teacher in France or a teacher in Argentina is an incredible thing. And that in that same classroom, there's somebody from France and somebody from the US. That makes us feel like we're connected in ways that we normally wouldn't be. So sharing our experiences and understandings, especially also in this way, in this format, makes us understand that we are actually a part of the same community. And that sense of togetherness and need to support each other becomes more prescient, because sometimes in festivals, we're so excited to see and everything is exciting. It's so big. But that feeling of, wow, we are all over the world. There are not so many of us, but we're really all together. I think it's very, very powerful now, and we need to use that momentum going forward.
You are smart too. I knew that all of you are smart, but this is really, we can continue for ourselves. No, we will share it with the rest of the community. And there are many things we started at the beginning with the teachers and people who are more involved in tango, with our things that we do with Tango Natural TV, all programs, including this one. And then we realized, oh, we have to invite more of dancers, students, because they are providing their perspective. So I would love also to have with us here some people who are beginners from different communities, and we will find a way. Konrad.
So first of all, thank you very much to Sonja and Darko and the whole team, because I know that there is a big team, of course, as always, very professional behind it. So thank you for organizing this session, and I enjoyed it a lot. It is not necessarily something that, you know, I do every other weekend, and I feel super comfortable about doing it, but I enjoyed a lot. So thank you so much. And I think it's a very, very important idea to have the dialogue starting or running. And for everybody, you know, I wish, you know, tango professionals that you do all your best to, you know, keep the communities connected, excited, and then for all the dancers, you know, let's use this time, you know, as much as we can. Let's use it as a kind of time for personal work, time for discovering history, time for learning orchestras, because this will bring much more excitement. It will bring us to a different level when we are back to tango. So we will be better off. So it might be counterintuitive, but actually it can turn into positive. And I really hope to see all of you very soon, whatever soon means, but very soon in local milongas, in events, festivals, marathons, and it will be great fun to be there with you.
Sonja?
Well, this that I'm going to say, I'm saying it from all perspectives that I've changed through my tango life. And these are perspectives of being involved in many different fields. But on the first place being tanguera, milonguera, this is where all the other things that I do start from. And this is that what protects us and what shelters us is community. So this is the roof that really this is the roof, and it's also from the ground. It gives us support, and it shelters us. And for me, this whole conversation was really interesting, all the points of it. But the favorite part is understanding the difference between community and team. And yes. This is, I think, for everyone, for all the people that were joining this conversation, for listening to us, something as a kind of homework to find our own answers, what community is for us, and to understand what is this that I can do for my community to grow and to preserve, because what I get in return is at the end always much more than what I give. Because at the end, from tango, we all get much more than what we give, no matter what we do in tango.
Yeah, I remember that lesson of one important person that probably new generations don't know enough, and we have now time to teach them about. Is Gavito. He was asking, what did we give to tango? We are getting every day something from tango, but we should give something back. And yes, that tango is actually tango community, and this what all of you shared. It was a real pleasure, real. It was really I understand. I know Sonja, of course, longer than all of you, and you can see that she has so many books behind her, so it's clear that she's smart. But this was really pleasure talking with all of you. And yes, Konrad said about the team. This was made not only by us. Everyone knows that Tango Natural is something much bigger. We are maybe just the most exposed people. You have people like Petar Pavlov, who is doing all those crazy designs and things, and not appearing that much in the programs like we did, or Relja or other instructors at the Tango Natural TV. And we have Goran, who is doing all crazy, like if you know from the movies, those hackers and programmers that resolve that exist. His name is Goran. Masha, who is really great with all things, and she's doing also. We are same family. She's doing PR for your festival, Sara, Ivan, and Konstantin also from the team, but also whole Tango Natural team and all maestros that were here at this festival. So I would love now to share with everyone final goodbye. We will post YouTube videos these days, but I would love to see whole team now in a Zoom joining us. So I think that Goran will now allow them, and everyone can see all those people who are working for this team, all maestros that were here at this festival. So I would love now to share with everyone. Okay, please mute yourself because I can hear my voice many times.
We are hearing you. We are looking at you.
This is confusing. People, we learned some things through this festival, but one of them was that you are living at the same place and that you are together because of the same room that you had at the lesson. Of course, I knew that, but this was interesting for people probably. So yes, we had Sezen and Zeynep and their great performance, and Gaston and Mariana with the lesson, and Octavio and Corina and Andres and Natasha. Did I forget anyone? Of course I knew that, but this was interesting for people probably. Okay, you were with us. Okay, here Sara and Ivan, of course, and now it's really hard to continue talking. DJ Seramo was at the show, Darko, and all the rest of the team. So to say goodbye, waving to everyone, Tango Natural team is here working for Tango Natural TV. And we can now stop our live. Let's say goodbye while